A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Precious mothers, God, reviving humanity. We shall make it because happy women makes happy nation. In the name of Allah, we shall succeed again. Precious mothers, God, reviving humanity. We shall make it because happy women makes happy nation. In the name of Allah, we shall succeed. Our topic tonight remains emotional stability in women. Bring out your dirty notes, if any. Serve Abu meal, observe Salah, and relax your body to enjoy the lecture. I hereby hand over to our able lecturer, a PhD holder, Director of Soccer Psychological Health and Service Limited, a sound psychologist, a renowned psychologist, a mother, a wife, a mujahida in the path of Allah, and so on and so forth. In person of Dr. Mrs. Aroyemu Olaleye Temitope Afolashade, you are welcome, ma'am.
Now, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to my dear mothers. Without wasting much of our time, I'm to discuss the topic emotional stability in women. When I saw the topic, I was thrilled because the first question that came to my mind was, how stable am I? And that's the same question I'm asking you too. How stable are you? So we will both know how stable we are through this topic discussion. Now, to start off with, what is emotions basically? In simple terms, emotions are exactly what you feel. The happiness, the sadness, the joy, the excitement, the disgust, the anger, all of these things are what we call emotion. And emotion requires so much training for it to be stable. So when we say we are emotionally stable, it means that we can balance our emotions consistently towards positivity. And the reverse or the opposite of emotional stability is emotional instability, or otherwise known as neuroticism, which means that our mind is consistently on negative emotions. I'm sure some of us naturally, we know what our emotional thoughts are. When something happens, the first thing that comes to our mind, is it positive or negative? This would infer how positive or how negative our emotions are. From research, it has been found out that women experience more fear, more happiness, more sadness, and more disgust. And if let's analyze it together. When something little happens, or when our children does any little thing, we're already smiling. Look at this boy, look at this girl. And when there's just a little reason to have fear, we feel so scared. I hope something bad had not happened, and we feel disgust. Like the smallest thing just pisses us off, just gets us angry that what's that? Why did she do that? Why should she have done that? And we feel sadness more. And that is why many times more females suffer more emotional psychological disorders compared to males. Now, a lot of times we all know the reasons why we feel emotions. As a human being, we have relationships with people. We have a relationship with the environment we're in. We are first daughters. So you have relationship with your parents. We are next sisters, so you have relationship with your siblings. We are other next wives, so you have relationship with your husband. Also, we are next mothers, so you have relationship with your children. And we are colleagues. You have friends, you have classmates, business mates, and all of this. So all of these relationships determine the level of our emotions. That is the experiences we go through. Determine how emotionally stable we will be, or we are, or how emotionally unstable we are. Also, not to forget that we have our health there, we have our finances, that gets us worked up. We have our health, our finances, and so many other things that makes us who we are, that also infer on our emotions. So basically, to simplify all of this, to simplify the whole concept of emotional stability, but the way Allah has created us is that the whole of us is divided into body, mind, and soul. Our body is how we look, our flesh, and we all feel it. What nourishes the body is food, good food, balanced diet. And you know that when we are ill, or probably when our immune system is down, we fall ill. Our soul is nourished by our spirituality with Allah. And that is one thing, even from research, we found out that so many people in the Western countries, and even some people in Africa too, are suffering. And that is why sometimes it leads people to the extreme. We'll still talk about the extreme. So, our soul is nourished by spirituality and by the words of Allah, while our mind is nourished by positivity, basically. So many times when we're growing up, we had so many positive experiences. There's a likelihood we'll be emotionally stable, in the sense that we'll be able to handle things. But probably when we're growing up, we were from an unstable home. Daddy is fighting mommy, brother is fighting sister, neighbors are fighting each other, neighbors is suspecting each other. So many unstable and, negative things happening. There's a possibility it may infer on our emotions. So when we talk about our mind in broader terms, we're talking about our behavior, our feelings, and our thoughts. So basically, when we talk of emotions, it's part of our mind. I'm sure typically when we ask people, where is your mind? Many people touch their heart, but our mind is around, is in our head. It is in our forehead area, the forebrain. That is where our mind is. So that is where, when I say something bad to you, you would interpret what I've said to be either good or bad. That is where if I do anything to you, you interpret what I've done, and it is the interpretation that will determine whether you feel angry or feel sad or feel happy. So when we talk about emotional stability, we can't rule out our developmental age. We don't expect a 25-year-old girl to be emotionally stable. No. She's still growing her emotions, and that is why many times when things happen to us, even for those of us in our early 20s, but we still feel somehow. That's because our emotions is still training itself. And that is why many times when we deal with teenagers, we always let parents understand that they are still building their emotions. They are not yet smart, or they've not gotten that complete experience. They're still learning. So if you don't handle them well at that stage, they might become emotionally unstable. So when we grow, we said that people within their 30s, our emotional stability comes to reality, like mature emotionally, many times between 30 and 40s, within the ages of our 30s and our 40s. But let me give you a very typical example. That sometimes when you've gone through so many life experiences, there's a stage you get to in life, and usually it's around that 40 plus. There's a stage you get to in life that you just know that there's nothing else that can happen to me, because there's nothing new. Stage we all get, as adults, you get to that phase that you just know that no, nothing else. And that is when you know that other people were emotionally stable to a very permanent extent, in the sense that the person knows that I can help myself to be consistently happy now, even when there are so many bad things that are happening. It's not that bad things will stop, it will not stop, but I can still help myself to be consistently happy. So while we grow from our 30s to our 40s, we expect that people should now be emotionally stable. Then gradually, by the time we get to our 60s, there's a possibility for decline. And that is why many people, we all know that so I will not, and that's, many of us have old people at home, and we know how they act when it comes to emotions. Another thing I want us to also hold on to is that that we are, like I said earlier, I spoke about our relationships. But because we are mothers and we are wives, let me emphasize that a little. So many of us are cry wives. Like probably when you got married to your husband, you were like 20, 21, 22, 25. When your husband does a little thing, you're beginning to cry. And, and you come and beg you, my wife saw you now, mama, and another thing happens again, you cry again. Another thing happens again, you cry. And he just learns that, okay, but you know that by the time you mature in that marriage, you stop crying. Because you know that, it's not that he has learned that, okay, that is who you are. When something happens to you, you cry. And you have eventually become mature that, why am I crying? So, we are mothers. We know how disturbed we are. Even if we are the doctor, you know how disturbed you are. My child, for me. Hey, worried. Odoju as a mother, you just feel okay. Go and take paracetamol, you feel fine. But deep inside, you know, hey, I know that you are colleagues, you have people you work with, that you build relationship with. You go to work, we spend like 8 hours at work. At least that's on the average for many people. You resume probably 9, you close 4 or 5 o'clock. So you're working 8 hours. You have so many people around you you're relating with. So many times when they do things with you, you want to be sure that I don't want to make myself vulnerable. And it will make her vulnerable or my exploit. Later I'm going to realize I don't know. Sure, then that people here exploit me. Oh my, eventually it don't see. So all of this we don't see, all of this coming around and learning is what builds our emotional intelligence and our emotional stability. Also, we can't rule out the fact that our health, so there are certain periods in our lives that we are vulnerable. There's nothing you can do. Hormones will make you vulnerable. 1, when you are menstruating. 2, when you are pregnant. Hormones will naturally make you vulnerable at that time. So, like I said earlier, emotional stability, is more like over time you can maintain your level of happiness. It's not that people will not hurt you. It's not that bad things will not happen to you. But you can now determine and help yourself determine that what has happened, I'm going to learn to control it. So when we talk of emotional stability, we are talking about you having a positive perspective to things. For example, something may happen, and the first thing that will come to your mind is Mokuo. But that same thing may happen, I might decide that, okay, how do I handle this? What are the possible solutions to this problem? Solution A, solution B, solution C, solution D. By the time you get to Z, definitely you get it. One of it will definitely work. So that shows that your perspective to things determine how emotionally stable you are. How do you see things? Are you the type that naturally sees negativity in everything? Take over and say, Moko, and it's negative things. Even when you are seeing positive things, you still don't see the positive things. Negative all of the time. You have to be very careful. So perspective determines how emotionally stable you are. Number 2 is you should know you have control. When you have control over your emotions, that okay, right now I am angry. I am extremely angry. How can I control myself? Some of us have very good control mechanism, and some of us have poor control mechanism. But for those that have good control mechanisms too, it's not that they are not angry, and it's not that they won't show their anger, but they show it to a little extent and they let go. While those that have poor control will just keep blabbing and keep rolling for days. They might still be angry, weeks, years. Auntie Oroyi, she borrowed last week. No, I know our nature differs. Some of us, someone like me would immediately express my anger immediately, and otitoni. While some people will bottle up. But ibinu yen si wa lara won. So not only ibinu is what we are able to control, you're able to control excessive excitement or unnecessary sadness. Bad thing happen, probably you lose a war or something. Ability to maintain, understand that yes, is sad. I feel bad about it, but I have to understand and I have to let go. I have to understand life, that